In the movie Fight Club, there's a recurring question that's not really answered for us. That question is, why is Tyler Durden building an army? Again, the movie doesn't really give us a clear-cut explanation. That's why I'm here. Why is Tyler Durden building an army? Let's explore. When it comes to Tyler Durden's army, there's really two schools of thought, and we'll examine both. The first school of thought insists that Tyler was a man with no plan, just hell-bent on destruction. The other suggests Tyler Durden did have a very particular agenda, which I'll get into shortly. For now, let's take a look at the first school of thought. The first school of thought is that Tyler Durden has no real goal aside from chaos and mayhem, i.e., no one really knows why Tyler Durden is building an army. Remember, the first rule of Project Mayhem is you do not ask questions. This school of thought believes he's simply a man who's miserable with his life, that found a group of other miserable people and organized them to lash out at the world. He has no greater plan, no greater motive than to destroy the world that has wronged him. Whether through acts of terrorism, theft, or just seasoning the lobster bisque at fancy restaurants, all he's really doing is lashing out and causing mayhem, hence the name Project Mayhem. Something that affirms this no-plan thesis is when the narrator poses and answers this very question we're debating. Think about the narrator's answer to this question.
Why was Tyler Durden building an army? To what purpose? For what greater good? In Tyler we trusted.
He doesn't answer the question. He simply says, "In Tyler we trusted," repeating the fifth rule of Project Mayhem. You must trust Mr. Durden, affirming again that there was no real plan. The second school of thought suggests that Tyler Durden is a man with a plan. In a previous video, I discussed the entire philosophy of Tyler Durden. I mentioned that one of his philosophical principles was something called primitivism. This belief surrounds a glorification and attempt to live as our ancestors did. He's kind of like the predecessor to the Liver King. But according to this school of thought, Tyler was not passive in his primitivistic beliefs. He wanted to impose them and implement them into society, i.e., this was his plan. This school of thought believes that Tyler Durden's plan is to destroy modernism and implement primitivism, reducing humanity to a more hunter-gatherer existence. There's two things that really support this plan thesis. One is that Tyler has the credit card buildings wired up to be bombed and destroyed. Of course, Tyler hates modernistic consumerism, and the credit card is really at the heart of consumerism. If you destroy the credit card and the credit system, people will not be able to consume as easily. People will have to rely on cash or more ancestral means of exchange, like reciprocal labor, which is doing favors for one another as a means of exchange. Another subtle clue that reveals this plan agenda is having the members of Project Mayhem building and grooming gardens. Gardening and food cultivation is primitivistic, and creating a garden is a way to help make the group self-sufficient. Now, where do I stand with this? I have to go with thesis number one. Tyler Durden had no real plan aside from mayhem. I mean, is destroying a few credit card buildings really going to reduce the entire world to primitivism? Probably not. It would just be another setback and annoyance for these corporate giants. It's no different than breaking a Starbucks window or urinating in restaurant food, except it's on a more macro scale. I believe, and argued in a previous video, that Tyler was merely a fascist who freed people from a sheep-like mentality only to again reduce them to sheep and weaponize their masculinity as means of implementing terrorism against a system that he and others despised. What do you make of Tyler's plans? Let me know in the comments below. Hey, we're on the road here to 1,000 subs, so if you could take a second here and subscribe, that would really mean the world. I'll be back with more videos soon, and until then, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.